Hello again, this is a video about all the reasons why you could commonly fail for the controlled stop. I have made this video already, but I noticed that the sound quality was horrendous on my walk, so I'm redoing it. Okay, so let's just list it straight away of the common faults that you could fail for the controlled stop, okay? And then we'll go into a bit more detail. When you're doing the controlled stop, you could fail if you overtake a parked car and then forget to come back into the left. Because the student is so worried about the controlled stop, if they overtake any cars, it's very common for them not to go back to the correct side of the road afterwards. So go back to the left. If you don't stop the car under full control, and that could be because you brake so hard that you skid, which is very rare. Don't worry, it's very rare. But if you were to brake so hard that you actually lost control, then I've never had that in 23 years, but I'm just telling you, okay? Then you could fail for that. And if you don't brake hard enough and controlled enough and fast enough and prompt enough, again, then you could have like issues with that. So it does need to be practiced. So talking about it is one thing, but you need to go and practice this, okay? So you need to get the promptness sorted, the amount that you press on the brake, okay, sorted under a physical practice of it, okay? It could be that you break the speed limit. There is something about this maneuver where people just bomb it down the road and they forget that there's a speed limit. If I left some of my students, I reckon we'd probably get to 100 in a 30. They just keep going. So be careful, you know, like you still have to like abide by the speed limit. I would strongly suggest that you build up your speed and then kind of cap it off and level it off at a speed that you enjoy, maybe 22, 24. I call it the tabletop mountain. You build up your speed and then you level it like that before your controlled stop, okay? After you have finished the maneuver, you must check all your observations before you go. I think out of all of the things that my students have failed for, that is the thing that they fail for the most. They don't check round before they go. All right. So those are the most common reasons why you can fail for the controlled stop. So let's just go into a little bit more detail about this now. Your controlled stop is 1 in 7 tests. You might not even see it. If you've been selected, you are the lucky one out of 7 people that have been selected for the emergency stop. Okay. You are always going to be pulled up on the left first. Always. You're not just going to be randomly shouted at on your test to stop. It's organised and careful for safety reasons. You will be pulling up on the left and then he will give you a speech that you're going to do the controlled stop. Okay? He will explain it all to you. He will say that he's looking around to see if it's safe for you to do the manoeuvre. And if it is safe, he'll say stop. He'll put his hand out in front of you near the window and just say stop. And he'll say it firmly and he'll put his hand out. He doesn't hit anything, he doesn't make any noises, he doesn't do anything. That stop is what he's doing. Now when he looks around like this relieves you of duty of doing any checks of the mirrors for the maneuver. So you're parked at the side of the road, you know that you're going to be pulling away and doing the maneuver. Obviously you check everything before you go, because that's a move off. That's got nothing to do with your emergency stop yet. So you move off safely, you check everything beautifully, and then you're driving down the road. Like I say, if you overtake any parked cars, come back to the left, because otherwise you'll be on the wrong side of the road. That is a failable thing. I've had people fail for that. Come back to the left. Remember where you are on the road, okay? It's a big deal, yeah? And be careful with your speed. Lift it and then level it. Okay, now when you're driving down the road, he's then going to check if the road is safe. This means because he's doing so many checks around him, yeah, he's looking all the mirrors, he looks over his shoulder. At this point, you don't have to check your mirrors when he says the word stop. You can trust in his observation. And the reason why this is happening is because in reality, if somebody stepped out in front of you, you wouldn't check your mirrors, yeah? If a pedestrian stepped out in front of you, you would just stop. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't look in your mirror and be like, there's a car behind me. Better not stop because I'm going to have an accident. You would save the person in front of you and just hope the person behind you is given the adequate clearance that they should be giving and not just go into the back of you. That's their fault anyway, yeah, so that's a different thing. But you don't check your mirrors and make a decision about not stopping for a pedestrian that's in the road. Do you know what I mean? So as you're driving down the road, you've done all your checks, you're going down there, yeah, you can see him out of the corner of your eye doing all the checks because he's quite like moving around a lot. And then he says the word stop, and then you go through with the maneuver. Now, you're going to be doing it in a 30-mile-an-hour road. He's never going to take you to a faster road, okay? It's not going to happen. So when you are doing this maneuver, it would be brake and clutch. If you are going to do one first, it's going to be the brake that goes down, okay? If you were to brake on its own and stall violently, you're still going to pass because you've stopped the car. However, your driving instructor or your car will prefer it if you put the clutch down as well, because it's just calmer and nicer to your car. So brake and clutch would be great. Momentarily, the brake should be first and then the clutch goes down. However, if you are traveling at a slower speed, 18 to 24 perhaps, like in that realm somewhere, the tabletop mountain, build the speed and level it, yeah, then you can probably put them down at the same time. But the thing to remember is you must not put your clutch down first, because what this will do is it will inject a speed into the car momentarily. So you'll actually go faster momentarily, and then your brake isn't as efficient after your clutch has been put down. Okay. Now, if you were driving at a faster pace, let's just say you're doing 60, 70. If you have any conscious awareness of what you're doing, because we are talking about an emergency, if you have any conscious awareness of what you're doing and any planning skills, then you would want to brake on its own for a long time before you put the clutch down. However, let's be honest about this. If you're dealing with an emergency, your brain is probably not going to be able to consider things properly. You'll probably put both your feet down at the same time. But if you did have any conscious awareness and planning, then we should come off the gas onto the brake so it works really well, and then you put the clutch down and finish off your braking afterwards. Yeah, when your clutch goes down, it steals the quality of the brake. Okay, so like I say, you are not going to be doing the controlled stop on a road that's faster than 30. Not on your driving test, no. In real life, you might, yeah? I was on the M25, and when I was 17 and I was driving, I was listening to my music, chilling out, loving life, yeah? And I went round the corner and all the traffic was stopped. All of the traffic was stopped. And I broke, I was so shocked, broke, put the clutch down, and I went into a skid. I lost control of my steering completely. I was literally all over the flipping shop, yeah, because I didn't have ABS, anti-lock braking system on my car, because I'm 45 years old this year. This is when I was 17. So the car didn't have ABS, anti-lock braking system. So I completely lost control. I went into a massive skid. I didn't go into the person in front of me, but it was flipping close. And when I did stop, I looked at his mirror and he looked at me, and I saw the whites of his eyes. It must have been absolutely flipping petrifying for him. I don't know how much battery I've got left. So yeah, but that all happened really, really quickly. Now, if I had anti-lock braking system, which was designed by Mercedes, I think, then the car would have known I'd gone into a skid and helped me, because it would have released my brakes for me, even though I was braking as the human in the car. It would have released my brakes, put them on, released them, put them on, released them, put them on, and it would have gained traction for me on the road by moving my tyres a little bit and then stopping, and then a little bit and stopping, and I would have gained some traction on the floor, and then that would have been safer. If I had any brain capacity at that point, I would have pumped the brake. This is not something that you need to know now if you've got a modern day car. I'm just telling you about ABS. If I had a car that didn't have ABS and I went into a skid, I would go off brake, on brake, off brake, on brake, off brake, on brake, on my brake to imitate ABS. You don't have to worry about this. I'm just explaining about what ABS is if you didn't have ABS. If you go out and buy a Morris Minor, yeah, from the flipping 50s or whatever it is, it's not going to have ABS, yeah? So you would, if you went into a skid, you would have to imitate the ABS. On, off, on, off, on, off, yeah? You don't have to worry about it. If you brake really heavily, continue to brake heavily, yeah, brake heavily, the car will sort it out. Like I say, it was developed by Mercedes, God knows how many years ago, and it goes like that on your tyre as you're braking hard, and it will stop you from going into a skid or help you not to go into a skid. All right. If you ever see a car that's had ABS on a skid, there'll be a skid mark and then a brake, and then a skid mark and then a brake, and then a skid mark on the brake, because the brakes would be going on and off for that person. Yeah. If you see an all-in-line skid mark, then the ABS wasn't activated, okay? This is not going to happen to you. I'm just explaining ABS, right? You are doing your emergency stop in a 30-mile-an-hour road, and because you're cautious, you'll probably be doing it in between 18 to 24 miles an hour. Cap it off there. Tabletop mounting, up and across. Some students will absolutely bomb it down the road. It's harder to brake a car that's accelerating. I strongly advise that you cap it off at 22, 24 and have that as your goal, to lift and keep it there. I do suggest that you go brake and clutch down so it looks after the health of your car. But if you brake an emergency stop, controlled stop, it changed its name years ago, because of the kind of emergency sounds well scary, doesn't it? But it's a controlled stop. If you brake on its own and stall, not great for the car, but yes, that's still a pass, okay? All right? When you're going down the road, yeah, and you've done your emergency stop with the foot brake only, not the handbrake, stop with the foot brake and the clutch only, yeah? And once the maneuver is over, take a moment, it's over, it's chill, we're done here. Then handbrake neutral, yeah, if you're driving a geared car, okay? Do not let your handbrake have anything to do with your stop. Don't go, I've got some students who they panic for the handbrake. No, hands on the steering wheel. Brace yourself, look ahead. Don't be one of those people who put their heads down like that and their hair goes forward like that. Stabilize yourself with the steering wheel, look ahead. Yeah, you see him moving around, yeah, you see him doing it, you're probably going to be stopping soon. However, if he does see a car, clearly he won't say stop. He'll just say there's someone behind us, we can't do the maneuver. So do wait for the word stop, yeah. Otherwise it could be dangerous if he's seen a car behind that he didn't expect, yeah. He looks round, you've stabilised yourself with the steering, and then he says stop, and then you go brake and clutch, yeah, and then you do a firm stop. Not so hard that the ABS is going to go off, but not so slow that it's going to take you ages to come to a stop. I remember one of my friends had a student once who, his first language wasn't English, so that, bless him, on his driving test, he just had a lost in translation thing. The examiner explained that they were going to do the controlled stop, and he went, right, do you understand? And he just drove off, and then the examiner looked around like this, said, stop! And then the guy just went, mirrors, signal, pulled up on the left beautifully, handbrake neutral signal, and then he misunderstood and he failed for that. Oh, that makes me feel sad, that story, because it was just literally lost in translation, wasn't it? You know? Anyway, so as you're going down there, yeah, he's going to look around, wait for the word stop, and only stop with the foot brake and the clutch, okay? Brake, clutch, or both at the same time at the lowest speed will be fine, not the clutch first, okay? When the car has ceased movement, ceased, you're there, you're stable, you're looking ahead, the head hasn't come forward, you're looking ahead all the time, like that, stabilising yourself with the steering wheel. The car has now stopped, the seatbelt has probably locked, yeah, that's okay, that's good. Sometimes if my students' emergency stops are not quick enough, I put the chewing gum in the back, and then we try and get the chewing gum to come forward like that. Or I put my water bottle on the back seat if it's empty, and then we try and make it go forward, yeah? And then when the car has physically stopped, then handbrake neutral, yeah, and wait. Thank you. I won't be asking you to do that again. Please drive on when you're ready. Then check all your observations. This is where I have most people fail. Check from the left all the way around, because you are in a driving position. You are in a driving position. There's space on your left. Check for bikes. Check from the left all the way around. Pedestrians and people coming out of driveways. Checking all the way around. Checking the blind spot. Is there anyone there? No? Great. Drive on. Is there anyone there? Yes, because they've turned in now to the road. Are they going to overtake? Yes. Okay, stay there. Is there enough room for them to overtake? No. Okay. Do I use a signal to be like, I'm going to go, I know I'm in a weird position? Yeah, all right then. Yeah, all right. Signal to the right. Yes, you're in a driving position, but this now tells the person behind, like, what the hell? What the hell is this person doing? Signal to the right. Yeah, all right then. You don't have to. Yeah, but if it's going to help somebody know that you're moving off again, yeah, all right then. Put your signal on. It's not something that you have to do, but it is a bit unusual if somebody's just come into the road and you're just randomly in the centre of the road. If they can't overtake you, you can, because there's no space, you could just be like, yeah, do you know what? I know this is a bit weird, but I've seen you signal. Are you all right with that? Yeah? All right, cool. And then you drive on again after you've done all those beautiful observations. Yeah? What else could I say about the controlled stop? I've done ABS. I hope you understand about ABS. Please don't worry about a skid yet. I've done this job for 23 years. I've never had anybody go into a skid. Yes, we've had the ABS go off. They've broke so hard that you can hear the ABS going. Yeah, I've had that. And, you know, and they can feel it under their brake. To be fair, if your ABS goes off on your test, it's fine. But I don't like doing that because it's quite a stress on my car. So I like to teach it that they slow down, vroom, really controlled, stop. No ABS, but we've stopped firmly. Beautiful, lovely. It's not too slow, not too fast that the ABS has gone off. I don't teach it that the ABS goes off, but I have heard through the grapevine that some instructors do that. Brake as flipping hard as you can, ABS going off, all the rest of it. No, I don't teach it like that because I want to look after my car long term because I'm practicing it with all my students. It's a firm stop, done. Now that my student has stopped, beautiful, loved that. That was gorgeous. Handbrake neutral signal. I suggest as you're practicing this to build up to one that's good. Yeah, build up to it. I would suggest that when you're learning it, yeah, and everybody's looked around, stop, yeah, you start with a gentle one, okay? Stop. Okay, handbrake neutral. Look all the way around. Okay, that was quite calm. That was quite calm. Let's increase the intensity. That's a nice way to look after your car when you do this. Don't go all in guns blazing, yeah? Because it's stressful for you and also unnecessary. And it's harder to take away. It's a bit like salt in the food. If you put too much salt in, it's harder to take away. So start up, build up, slower one, like calmer one. And then the next one slightly harder. Then the next one slightly harder. Then the next one slightly harder. Yeah? Until you've got a lovely, firm stop. Beautiful. Oh, thank God that's over. Yeah? Handbrake neutral. Thank you. I won't be asking you to do that again. Please drive on when you're ready. Checking all the way around. Yeah. No one to signal for. Yeah, that's fine. Drive on. Is there any pedestrians around? Other hazards? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So I think I got everything there. Let me have a think. So, yeah, common things for people to fail for: overtaking a car, not coming back to the left, not checking their checks afterwards. Don't use the handbrake to stop the car. Use the foot brake to stop the car. Don't put the clutch down first. Either brake and clutch at the same time, yeah, at the speed you're going, fine, or brake first, yeah, brake first, then clutch. At the speeds that you're doing, both at the same time will be fine. But if you are traveling in your life faster, try and get that brake on if you've got any conscious awareness of what's going on, because the brake works better on its own first and then the clutch goes down later. Just like all the rest of your drive, speed by brake, speed by gear, unless you're in first gear. Gears 2 to 6, speed by brake, speed by gear. Don't break the speed limit. If you're one of those people who just keep going, be careful of that. It's harder to do the maneuver anyway. Don't go so slow that, like, we haven't even, we need to build up some speed. You're probably going to be doing it in a range of gears 1 to 3. Yeah, one of the examiners who's left now, he used to just let them go off in first and then stop them. And he used to do it in first, but he was the only driving instructor that did that. Most of them let you get up into second or third, yeah. And then I think it's almost your choice then. Do you want to do it in second or do you want to do it in third? Yeah. But my advice, lift the speed, tabletop mountain, build up and level. Try and kind of level it at 22, 24 or something like that. So it's level, easier to stop the car, easier to do the maneuver. But if you've got an examiner who's just like, stop, when you're moving off in first, then that's the way the cookie crumbles, yeah? I've only met one driving instructor who does that, and he's gone. Is there anything else? ABS, controlled stop quickly, all the observations afterwards, 1 in 7. Yeah, it's 1 in 7 tests. I think I've got everything. If I've missed anything, driving instructor, PDI, ADI, please just put it down in the comments. Or if you have failed for this manoeuvre because of a reason I haven't mentioned, please put it in the comments. All right, I shall speak to you and see you on the next video.